What's up, guys? Welcome back to Right Side, and welcome to another episode of the Right Report. The first big event I want to get into is, of course, the Trump-Joe Rogan podcast. The whole interview ended up being an astounding 3 hours long. Him and Rogan talked a lot about his first term, what the presidency was like, getting into the nitty-gritty on some environmental issues and regarding like energy and stuff like that. I think the whole interview was outstanding. I don't necessarily think that there was something I would change about it. Joe Rogan is, of course, the biggest podcaster on the planet. And Donald Trump went on there. He talked for 3 hours about substance. He was talking about this is the first time going to the Lincoln bedroom in his first term. Trump really has done everything possible as a candidate to prove that he has something called stamina, contrary to Kamala's campaign saying that he's tired and he's this and he's that. I can tell you at least two people who couldn't do what Trump did on Joe Rogan, and that is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And Joe Rogan even offered to have her on his show, but Kamala responded with a list of demands saying that he has to do it at her, campaign headquarters, with a set time limit, an hour interview, and Rogan, having already leverage in the negotiation, said, no, if you want to talk to me, you come to me. To me, obviously clear that Kamala Harris could not do what Donald Trump did. She cannot withstand 3 hours of a substantive conversation on policy, the same way that Donald Trump can. Donald Trump is continuing to prove himself to be one of the greatest political closers we've ever seen. I mean, this guy is everywhere at once. Just the other night, after Joe Biden called his supporters garbage, he literally took a photo op in a garbage truck with a Trump sign on it, with an American flag, and gave his Wisconsin speech wearing that safety vest. For a guy his age to be doing all this stuff, it is absolutely remarkable. I think one of the best parts about the Joe Rogan interview actually was Trump admitting his faults. He admitted in his first administration the hardest part was doing the appointments, because as a true Washington outsider, Trump didn't know anyone. He didn't know who was good and who was bad, who was part of the swamp and who wasn't. He had all the corporate lobbyists and the donor class picking and choosing for him who to appoint. And that, obviously, as we all know, caused his cabinet to kind of operate as a revolving door. I have a lot of faith in his transition team. With RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, he's, starting it early. Out of his own pocket. He had to rally donors to pay for it. It wasn't publicly funded like the General Accounting Office does for presidential candidates after the election. And so I have a lot more obviously share his experience with it and how he learned from his mistakes, and having a team around him already to kind of already have a list of appointees ready to go. That is just one little reason that I think proves that this second Trump administration is going to be much different than the first. Being able to actually go after some of the log and the and gut the bile and the rot that's inside the bureaucracy, starting within the executive branch and the agencies, knowing who to appoint, who not to appoint. J.D. Vance also did an episode with Rogan. Of course, J.D. Vance is incredibly well spoken. We all know this, and I hear a lot of people on the right kind of whisper about what if it was someone like Glenn Youngkin who Trump chose to be VP. And while I wouldn't say I have bones to pick about Glenn Youngkin as a political candidate, although I don't think that he is the shining city on a hill regarding political ability. Because as we all know, Glenn Youngkin only really won his Virginia governor seat after Terry McAuliffe pretty much shot himself in the foot with his comments on education. I honestly just don't think that when you look at the things that Vance is doing, Vance has done, going on Theo Vaughn, going on Tim Dillon, going on the Nelk Boys, going on all these different platforms and podcasts, and I just don't see Glenn Youngkin doing that or being able to do that and or relate on the same level as J.D. Vance does. Glenn Youngkin's, he comes off as older than J.D. Vance. He comes off as kind of like a daddish figure, which isn't necessarily bad, but he doesn't really connect with younger men as much as someone like Vance would. Vance does. Glenn Youngkin isn't the speaker that J.D. Vance is, and it's easy for J.D. Vance to really kind of defend and advocate for Donald Trump because Donald Trump and him are very ideologically aligned, and so that kind of comes second nature to him. Donald Trump's adaptability in this campaign is nothing short of outstanding. This is one of the greatest political campaigns that Republicans have had in, I would say, a lot longer than we think. Donald Trump's campaign strategy should be copied and pasted for Republicans going forward for the rest of time. Donald Trump's campaign is aging like a fine wine. The longer it goes, the better it is. After watching a Rogan interview, I am somehow more convinced that I think Trump is going to win in an absolute landslide. I mean, I don't think that there are people who watch and see him do all the stuff that he's doing at his age and think that it's not absolutely remarkable. Donald Trump is proving himself to be perhaps one of the greatest American patriots this country has ever seen. So Trump, Joe Rogan, I thought it was a fantastic interview, a long interview, a in-depth interview, and a very humanizing interview. Next is the election update portion. Early votes have really kind of crashed in, and he's killing it in Nevada. He's killing it in Arizona. He's doing well in Georgia, and he's doing well in North Carolina. Looks like PA, calling me surprised, is proving themselves to be kind of a problem child with litigation in the courts. Without going any further, I would say that Laura Trump's RNC is absolutely kicking ass right now in terms of getting ahead of fraud cases and making sure that county by county precincts aren't doing anything shady or wrong. As we know, R's typically show up on election day, but a lot of data coming out is showing that this rush and surge of early vote R's are tending to be lower propensity voters. And as in my previous video, I think last week, I said Trump's campaign regarding this Trump Force 47, which is his ground roots on the ground volunteer force, was targeting these low propensity voters who may not have voted before or registered Republicans but just don't typically vote. A lot of the early vote from the Republicans are coming from those people, which means that the hardcore Republican voters, the MAGA base and such, are still choosing to do election day, but the low propensity voters are still killing it in the early vote. And we shouldn't count our chickens before they hatch. And no matter how confident you are, it is very important that you vote. It doesn't matter if you think Trump is going to win by 2 electoral votes or by 200 electoral votes. It won't happen unless you vote. So election update, early votes coming in, looking very, very good for Donald Trump. Making the odds of a landslide even more possible. And a shout out to Laura Trump for kicking ass with the RNC ahead of time. Now, a bonus little thing I want to kind of slide in here before the end of the video is that the channel now has memberships. I wanted to kind of give you guys a way to support the channel in the smallest way possible. So there is currently 2 levels. First level is $1 per month, which is called the Ground Root Supporter. The technical perk is having priority replies in the comments, but it really is meant to be a really easy, bare bones way to help show your support for the channel. I would really appreciate it. The next level is what I call the Super PAC, and the second tier is the Super PAC, which is $5 a month with everything from the other level, plus a private Discord server meant only for members, which I will be active in, so we can all kind of chat in there about issues, whatever you want, and I can kind of show you guys perhaps some behind the scenes stuff about what I do, making videos or such, or if anything pops up, debates or anything like that. Really meant to be another way to kind of show a greater financial support for the channel. I do plan on offering more things with the memberships in the future. Just right now, my schedule is really tight and kind of chaotic, and I really wish I could do more, but we all have time constraints, and I can't just yet. But I'm hoping that in the near future, I would be able to and start giving back to you guys for giving so much to me. If you're interested in becoming a member, well, I do have a link down below where you can find more information. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. To support and help the channel grow, please subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with all my uploads. Finally, whether you agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to engaging with you guys in respectful and thoughtful discussions. With that said, I'll see you guys next video. See ya.